America will invite Canadian actors down for conventions, and they'll pay their way down, they'll pay them to appear. Canadian conventions will not pay my way, will not pay for me to appear. They'll basically say, no, come on up, sell your picture. I don't sell my picture. I'm not that important. I bring them in case people don't have something for me to sign, and hopefully the convention pays me enough money where I can afford to bring those, otherwise I pay for them out of my own pocket. There have been times when I've asked for a donation for an organization that I'm in, which is, it's a good cause. It's called Big Brothers. It's basically for boys that don't have fathers to come. And believe it or not, they actually have somebody like me who acts as a role model. I have a little brother, he's 13 years old. We've been together for 5 years. We go out once every 2 weeks, go to the movies, go to the park, throw out a football, go see a soccer game, go to Legoland, go to Disneyland, whatever. But hopefully I'm giving them a positive male role model. Or at least that's what the organization thinks.
Do you think you actually do that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I really think I see a difference in his behavior. It's very comforting because, not to mention that I think I'm doing something good for somebody else, but, I live with me 24 hours a day. I think I'm a goofball. So to see that I'm actually having a positive influence on somebody besides helping them develop a much better sense of humor, which is a good thing, I really see the difference. I see that he's a more thoughtful person. I see that he's a bit more polite. I try to go on with the idea of, I'd like to be here for a while, but when all is said and done, hopefully I'll leave it a little better than I found it. Hopefully I'll contribute something, maybe inspire somebody to write their movie or inspire somebody to volunteer in their own community. I mean, one of the things that really, really hit home with me with doing Robots in Disguise around September 11th was, I'm sure this wasn't just from one person. I mean, I got emails from people that were just at home and frustrated after the things that they saw on TV or in their own city, and how they wrote and said, if there ever was an Optimus Prime, yesterday was the day I wish there was one. Right there. Or I watched the news yesterday and I couldn't help but think, however crazy it sounds, where was Optimus Prime? And I'm sitting there thinking, trust me, if there was ever a time I wish I was a 40-foot tall, robot with the capacity to put out fires, certainly that would have been the day. And somebody actually wrote to me and said, I didn't know who to write to, I didn't know what to say, but I'm moving to New York and I'm going to become a fireman. And that meant something to me, It's just like, that's the real world. And every now and then I write on my pictures with Optimus Prime, remember the true heroes. I mean, yeah, it's nice that we have fictional heroes, because fictional heroes can give us plenty of things to aspire to, and they can have wonderful qualities. And hey, quite frankly, if a woman in Iowa wants to wear her Star Trek uniform to the office every day, and there's a woman who does, but from what I understand, her clients say that she gives great customer service, that, she tries to, in her own way, live up to the ideals of Star Trek. And some people may take the narrow view that she's, wow, what a dork. Right. Okay, if that's the way you want to look at it, but how is she any different from the guy who walks around wearing a baseball cap for his favorite team? And the uniform jersey of his favorite soccer team, like he really plays for that team, he doesn't play for that team. How is she any more of a dork than he is? And yet, she's living her life on an everyday basis, trying to be nice to people, trying to serve people, trying to do greater good. Now tell me, which one is the bigger dork? Which one's the bigger quote-unquote drain on society?
I think that's more of a social acceptance issue.
Absolutely. Because she doesn't worry about it, and that's the beautiful thing about it. And it's like, and I learned 13 years ago a very important lesson in my life. Somebody basically said to me, Neil, are you trying to be cool? Are you trying not to be a dork? don't worry about it, because you're always going to be a dork. And you're always going to be cool. Meaning, you know, that to one of you guys, or maybe all of you guys right now, I seem like a really cool person. I get on the phone, I call one of my friends, you know, and tell them that I was sitting in a restaurant with 9 Transformers fans telling stories about myself. And you think, what a dork. Alright? You know, or I was in London last week and I paid £50 to go see Mary Poppins, the musical. What a fag, you know? Whatever.
You know, someone with an opinion would like.
And basically what that says is, why live your life for somebody else? You know? Hopefully, as long as you're not hurting anybody else and you're contributing and you're making the world a better place, either by being a positive role model for your little brother, for your son, for your nephew, for your daughter, for the person next door, you know? Or maybe it's just as simple as, you know, holding the door open for somebody ahead of you. You know, it's like, I don't know if anybody noticed while we were walking over here, this guy bumps into me kind of hard. And I said, excuse me. And he didn't really say anything, kind of kept walking. I said, just a couple words. And he turned around and like suddenly occurred to him, geez, why did I do that? And he said he was sorry. And went on his way. It's like, all of a sudden, as far as I was concerned, everything was fine then. You know? I didn't need to hold a grudge, and he also didn't need to hold on to the idea of, I'm right, so I'm not going to let that person affect me. He did. And it was like we were allowed to be human beings at the same moment. When people can do that, it's great. You know, so you know, if somewhere along the lines, the way I've hit Optimus Prime means that some kids nicer to somebody else at school, or decides that he's going to join the army in whatever country he's in because he feels that it's his responsibility, or he just wants to do that for his community, that's just awesome. I'd like to be able to pay my rent, you know, because unfortunately doing these nice things doesn't keep you from out of the rain, you know. So I just wanted somewhere a happy medium of the two. Yeah, and that's just, you know, meeting people is it's like at the convention last week, you know. I understand when Gene Wilder is signing autographs and there's 500 people there and he's only got an hour schedule, that he can only sign his name, or he can write to Neil, Gene Wilder. Okay? Me, there were 500 people there total. Not everybody wanted my autograph. So it's like, for me, I'm going to take the time. Everybody who comes up, look them in the eye, ask them their names. Who should I make this out to? Is there anything you want me to write, you know? And half the time, I would just write my own thing that was inspired by the moment, you know, that hopefully makes it more unique for them. So that when they go home, you know, it's more of a personal experience, you know? Like there was this one young man who bought me a toy. The convention, five-pound toy. It wasn't a character that I did. What am I going to do with it? It's a nice gesture. I got the idea. He offered me something. He did connect with me. I wanted to make sure he knew that. And I just said, you know what? I don't want to be rude, but I still have to take this with my bag that I got everything stuffed into, take it to London, then take it to the Netherlands. I'm not going to have room for that toy. And if I do, I'm going to totally destroy it. Why don't you keep it? And it's from me. You know, think of it as something, you know, that we're sharing. And trust me, I got the idea that you gave me something, because you did. You gave me a very warm feeling. You know, I feel great. You know, but now I'm not going to feel bad later having messed up the box. And then I wrote on the back and said, and here's my email. This is my personal email. Don't put it on a website. Don't post it. Keep in touch. Let me know how you're doing. Well, I've already seen a posting by this kid on the Auto Assembly site. Just how thrilled he was by that. Really meant a lot. He thought it was really cool. Now he has my personal email, but he's not going to tell anybody because I asked him not to.